I've always wanted to play a good, proper console port of the original Quake game on PC because I'm not a big PC gamer, so I was never truly able to play Quake. I played Quake 64 on, Nintendo 64 a long time ago, and I don't think I could get into it, not because the graphics looked kind of N64-ish, but probably more so the fact that I hate the N64 controller, especially for shooters. Um, so yeah, I also didn't bother buying the Sega Saturn version of Quake because when I looked that version up, it looked awful. The frame rate looked really choppy. Um, the graphics looked really muddled and just blurry, and it looked like crap. Um, so for the longest time, I couldn't find a Quake console port that kind of resembled the PC version or gave like a really top-notch version of it until just a couple weeks ago when they launched out of nowhere Quake Remastered for the new systems. My wish has finally been granted. Quake Remastered is the definitive way to play this 25-year-old game. Um, it's the best it's ever looked and played. There's an insane amount of content here, and it's only $10. For $10, you get the base game plus a bunch of expansions, including one never before released. And the level that you're seeing right here is the first level of the brand new expansion that's never even been released for any other console. This is a brand new, um, expansion right here. Um, I've barely scratched the surface of what this has to offer. I've played through the base game. I'm on this new expansion, the last expansion, finishing that up. And there's also co-op. There's versus deathmatch. There are many secrets to be found in each level, and secret exits that can lead to secret levels. And there's even there's even mods. Like the first mod is a Quake 64. I'm guessing it's like a visual mod. I personally haven't tried it out yet because I'm still working on finishing all the content. So haven't even tried that out yet. Um, but I will, and I'm so excited to like keep playing this. Quake Remastered is the best gaming experience I've had all year, and it's a 1996 game. It doesn't take a lot to wonder why, though. When I play Quake, it brings me back to a golden age, in my opinion, the 90s, where games were made with the utmost care, top quality, they weren't rushed out. There were no bugs. Well, I mean, some games did have bugs, but those were permanently branded bad games. But top-notch, triple A games never really had problems back then. There were no live service shit, no microtransactions, um, and I miss this age of video games. That's why Quake Remastered is the best game of the year for me. And it's not even a new game, although it does have a new expansion, so I guess technically you could consider it a new 2021 game in terms of content. Um, but yeah, I just miss this era of games. The 90s were amazing for first person shooters. You had Wolfenstein, this, Half Life, System Shock, and I probably a tons of others that I can't think of off the top of my head. But um, yeah, this game has also aged amazingly well. I know id games almost never age. Like recently, I've also been playing the very original Doom game, and that hasn't aged at all. Not one bit. It's still just as fun as it was back in, 1993. Quake is the same way. A lot of people consider this like the first modern first-person shooter in the sense that you can actually like aim up and down. It's not like Doom where you just like aim your shots and he just shoots vertically to whatever the closest enemy is. It's the very first like modern 3D style first-person shooter, and it's aged amazingly well. The only little flaw that I think hasn't aged well is the text. Whenever you finish an episode of the base game or the expansion, it will give you like the congratulations, and it'll give you like a little bit of a story context. But man, the gray text and what is mostly a gray background, because most of the levels in Quake are like very gray and stone and brown and dirt, and sometimes there's no backdrop for these texts. Like they just put like a gray text on gray background. You can hardly read it. I would have liked it if they could like make a box, like a black box or something, or maybe even change the color of the text so you can read it. Um, but yeah, that's like the only thing that I really don't like is the just the text. But who the hell plays Quake for the story? Definitely not me. There's tons of other settings though besides that. You can change the size of the font, I think. I'll have to check, but you can change the brightness settings in case it's too dark. Um, you can also manually save at any given point in time, and I think this is what makes the really challenging, almost cheap, you can call it, expansions doable, in that you can kind of create your own little trial and error. I'm like, okay, this didn't work out. I can just reload my save from a minute ago. I can go back and you know, the manual saves are a lifesaver in this game, especially in the expansions. And even if you don't use them, restarting the level when you die doesn't negate you all your weapons and ammo. Like you keep all the weapons and ammo that you obtained in previous levels. Unlike Doom, where it just starts you off with a pistol and 30 bullets, and you lose all your stuff. This, you don't have to worry about that. So even if you forget to save and you get sent back to the beginning of the level, that's like the game reminding you, like, hey, I got you back, but maybe next time manually save, you know? Um, so that's cool. There's also a level select in the main menu too, um, across all the different you know, expansions and modes and stuff. I'm not sure how effective level select would be. I haven't used it yet, um, but I feel like if I did, if I went to like a really um, far level near the end of the game, it would probably just start me off with like a shotgun and 25 rounds that it always starts you out with. So that probably wouldn't be a good idea. It would probably make it really hard. So you should probably just like keep all your manual saves, a bunch of manual saves, and just kind of play through the game naturally instead of level select. But it's always cool to have that option to level select. Um, yeah, this game is also on Xbox Game Pass, which, if you have it, then there you go. But even still, regardless, this is more than worth the $10 asking price for dozens of hours of content um, to own. I'm in love, guys. Like I finally been able to play Quake in its like purest form, and it's the best gaming experience I've had all year. Quake is one of the best shooters I've ever played. Probably even my new favorite id game now. Sorry, Doom, but I think I like Quake just a little more. Um, so yeah, my final score would probably be like a 10, maybe. I feel like if I did decimals, I'd probably inch it down to a 9.5 only because of the gray text, but you know what? Fuck it. This is gonna get a 10 just because of how much offering it has for $10. It's incredible. It's insane. I certainly missed out on being a PC gamer back in the day, but at least now I'm glad I've finally been able to play Quake. It's the best game of 2021, and it's a 1996 game. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching.
The Gamer Gods! Fail!